Hey guys, welcome back to Jessica Jones Reviews. I finally want to watch the entirety of this show, so I'm just going to start pumping these out. So we're going to start off right where I left off last time with episode 7, aka Top Shelf Perverts. Gotta love who comes up with these names. General thoughts right off the bat. It's not the strongest episode. A lot of it feels kind of like stalling, but it's totally worth it to get the pretty good starter of the episode and the phenomenal ending. This episode is like, okay, yeah. A lot of it felt like padding, a lot of it felt kind of a little unnecessary, but it's worth it to get to the ending that it makes me can't wait to see where this is gonna go next. Granted, my episode might be tainted a little bit considering I've had to watch this episode twice. Because I'll admit I cheat sometimes. I watch like episode ahead of time, but then I forget to review it or I get too lazy to review it. So I have to come back and watch it again to kind of refresh my memory. So I don't think, even then, the first time I watched it, I think I got the same kind of vibe. It's a good episode, but it's not as good as some of the other ones. Although from what I've heard from other people, the episodes like after this case get really, really fucking good. So I'm excited. Right off the bat, let me give a brief synopsis of the episode. The episode starts out with the Purple Man. Once again, the theme of violation is still very prevalent, and it's again the way they've come about what's the word I'm looking for? The way they've gone about executing this theme, I thought it's always been brilliant from beginning to end. And everything, you just feel it. They manage to capture that feeling of it, and that's very hard to do. And it's very important that they get that right, and they have. So this episode starts off with a man in Jessica Jones' apartment while she's not there. He's rifling through his thing. He's pissing in her toilet, and he leaves her something by her door, and everything seems to be going okay. Well, as far as, creepy psychopaths are going through things in your apartment. Until poor Ruben shows up, and Ruben confesses that the little awkward dweeb loves Jessica Jones, and Purple Man doesn't take kindly to that. So he has him slit his own throat on Jessica's bed, and now Jessica Jones' apartment is now permanently tainted with the evil that is the Purple Man. So, very well done. Very creepy. Very terrifying. And even the scene in which she discovers the body is also equally terrifying, because she doesn't see him right away, which I kind of have a hard time believing that she wouldn't see that right away, but I digress. It's a minor thing, so I still got a little bit of a cough, but anywho. But so she lies down in bed thinking okay, let's crash a couple minutes, and then she realizes she's covered in blood, and then she turns around oh shit, there he is. And she actually gets a little freaked out at this. I also want to point out, I don't know if I said this in the last review or not, but I like how Malcolm has developed into much more of his own character here. Much more than was in prevalent episodes. In the previous episodes, he felt much more kind of like a joke. Kind of like he was just there for comedic relief. This time he feels much more like a fleshed out character. And he's actually contributing to the bottom line of the series. When it's okay, again, the show's done a good job so far justifying its many, many characters in the show. So far. I'm still not sure where the Hogarth and Hogarth's ridiculously huge-titted girlfriend is going, but I'm hoping that I think I play somewhere in the long run. I don't know yet. And it's nice to know that Ruben had a point, because I'm not gonna that was the one okay, why is he here? He's just kind of an annoying doofus, awkward, whatever. He just kind of, I don't really care about him. His sister is still here, and she still has no point, and she's still equally as obnoxious. Now, to be fair, I've had her, I guess, overall point kind of spoiled for me already, but I'll still like to see how that plays out. I'm not convinced it's going to pull off well, because even when they try to build up sympathy for this character, it's no, you're still a fucking bitch. You've been nothing but horrible for this entire show so far. I'm not going to sympathize with you now. Very few shows ever pull that off successfully. I think the most recent one I can think of that pulled that off was BoJack Horseman. But, anywho, so Jessica Jones has determined that the only way to protect everyone she loves and capture Kilgrave at the same time is by going into a Supermax prison complex. Everyone else, naturally, thinks this is a terrible idea. So Trish, Malcolm, and Hogarth have gone on, basically are doing everything they can to stop her. Spoiler alert, they don't succeed. Meanwhile, they bring back the cop, whose name I forget, from the second episode, back here, because he's the one that Jessica Jones wants to surrender to. Naturally, though, with her sudden change of heart, he's a bit more skeptical of him. Of kind of her surrender, what's the real game here? What are you really trying to do? But before they can really get to the bottom of it, though, It turns out Purple Man has tracked her down to the precinct, and this is by far, like, notice how I skimmed past so much of the other shit that's going on in this episode, because as far as I'm concerned, none of it really matters. What does minor cliff notes that might matter is Nuke has tracked down Purple Man and is watching him move into Jessica Jones' childhood home. Oh, and we also get Trish's mother and Jessica Jones' adopted mother, and they have a nice little scene. It's a lot more it's kind of like how in the earlier episodes, a lot of it was background, it was exposition. That's kind of what that scene felt like, and it works okay. But it's like, okay, I feel like this is just more backstory. I kind of want to see where this plot is going, and that's where this last scene delivers, where Purple Man tracks her down to the precinct. He basically forces every cop in the precinct to turn guns on each other, and has basically the entire precinct under hypnotism except for the cop that Jessica Jones surrounds to, and of course Jessica Jones. And this is where things got really interesting, because this is like the first big conversation these two characters have had in this series so far, that it wasn't in flashback form. So it's like, okay, where is this going? How is this going to happen now? And it's fantastic. It really is fantastic. David Tennant is just amazing as character. He's most fascinating and disgusting and repulsive. He's one of the most fascinating villains in Marvel universe so far. I mean, he's right up there with the Kingpin. If it's really close, I don't know which one's better yet. I'm gonna wait to see how the series goes before I make any final judgments. But but here, this is where Purple Man kind of reveals his like final. I don't want to say ultimatum, like his final plan isn't to like ruin her life or anything like that. It's because he has convinced himself that he is in love with her, and he wants her to feel the same way about him, but he wants to do that by not by controlling her mind. He legitimately wants her to be in love with him. He doesn't want to use his powers to do it, because and this is just another great way they incorporate the metaphor for abusive relationships. And this man is legitimately concerned that he is the best man for her, that he is everything that she can want. She just has to realize it. She just has to make her realize that she is the one for her. And it's so disturbing and disgusting. And it's just like the most repulsive villain I have seen in such a long time. And at the same time, I'm so interested in what he's going to say or do. He's such a great villain. Such a great villain. And naturally, Jessica Jones is like, you're a fucking psychopath. And he goes, no, you're such a great dynamic here. And I feel like I have a hard time discussing that, because there's so much I want to go into all at the same time. That's why I'm stuttering like a madman. But there's so much good shit here. There's so much good shit. Just the way they talk, and the way that Purple Man, the way they bounce back off each other, just the disturbing chemistry they have. And you can just feel their history. You can feel all the anger she has, and you can feel just the delusion and the ego and how that's fueling into this insane fantasy he's built up about how their life together and what it's going to be like. And he has such a gigantic delusion that everything that she does, and oh my god, it's disturbing how true to fact this is. Everything she does, as far as he's concerned, is just another sign that they're meant to be together. No matter how many times she pushes him away, he just convinced that he needs to work that much harder to win her over, and that it's gonna end up like a romantic comedy. It's like just a happy ending where they live happily ever after, and Jessica Jones is gonna magically realize that she's magically in love with him, and they're just gonna live happily ever after, ignoring the fault that he doesn't take fault for anything he does. He genuinely believes that everything he does either is justified in some weird, twisted way. Like, even for killing Ruben, he says, how could you stand him? How could you not want him dead? He drove me crazy after only 30 seconds. It's like, there's such a fascinating character here, and there's such a fascinating villain-hero dynamic here. And it's so fascinating to watch. And the episode ends, I guess spoiler, but if you're watching this, you've probably already seen it, which just ends with Jessica Jones basically caving in because she doesn't want anyone else to get hurt. She finds the gift that Kilgrave left her, and turns out it's like her old childhood journal she left her childhood house. So she figures out that he basically moved into her childhood house, and it ends with them walking together, with Nuke seeing them do it. And it's like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know where this is going, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. Especially with everyone else is reacting to this insane decision that she's made. And it's also kind of just disturbing to see how many of these abused victims end up going back to the people they abused for one reason or another. It happens way more often than I like to admit. I've known quite a few of the people who have done that, but yeah, I really can't think of how to say that. Like, the episode itself kind of meh, but great finale, and it's so excited for the next episode. In fact, I'm just gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna watch the next episode. So anything I ever got talked about in this episode, I'll sure talk about the next one. So thank you for watching. See you next time.